Good morning, friends, wherever you are. Welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee live stream. Hope you're having a good beginning of a great weekend. And I will be your host. My wife always rags me because I laugh at my own jokes. So, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And some of you are, I noticed, doing water changes. That's good. Working on your tanks. And let's see, Fishcapade's just in time. I'm glad you're here. A Bubble Off is here, doing his water changes. I like it. Mike Hunt in the house. Hello to you. Des Turner's here. Wally's Freshwater Aquatics. Hey, Warren, good to see you, buddy. Tracy's here. Angelo, Z-Zip, Kendall. Great group. Great group. Zach is in the house. Good morning to you, Zach. Mitty Mac, let's go. I agree. Let's go. So welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee live stream. Today is going to be a couple key points that I'm going to cover about the good and the bad, and then we're going to go ahead and get into your questions. I did a recent survey at the group page, and what seemed to come up as the most popular topic was really you folks sort of leading the discussion with your own questions. And so I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing to go ahead and emphasize. So I think that today we'll get into the topic that I have some notes for, like I do normally. But then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and let you take the reins with your questions, your comments, and go from there, since that seems to be a popular way to go. The least popular, interestingly enough, was when I preview or play a video during a live stream, which was interesting, but I kind of get it. I mean, you come to the live stream for a live stream, and then you're watching something that was pre-recorded. So I kind of get that, especially if it's long, like 10 minutes or more. So I get it. Thank you, Kev, on the AV. Thank you for letting me know about that. Always comforting to know that you're being heard and seen. If you go back to some of my older live streams, you'll see ones where I wasn't heard or I wasn't heard or seen. All right. Now, don't forget, next week, no live stream. I'm going to be on a trip helping out the company that I help on a part-time basis. I'm going to be in Austin, Texas. So I'll be gone for a weekend, and but we'll be back at it the week after that. So, Mike, your wife does that too. Yeah, it's like, I don't, who needs an audience? I can just sit there and crack jokes and laugh. And oh, especially my dad jokes. My kids love my dad jokes, So, all right. Well, a couple real quick shout outs, and then we'll get underway here. And very quickly, a very quick shout out, to my wonderful Garage Gang members, my Patreons, who help me in more ways than they know. It starts for as little as $3 a month. The details are in the description. There's also a short video on it that I will add sometimes to the end of my videos. But big shout out to my wonderful Patreons, and also a shout out to my friends over at Aquarium Co-op for their ongoing support of the channel. Let me see if I can get that over here. There we go. Corey, Zenzo, the gang over at Aquarium Co-op, they help me out a lot. So big shout out to them over in the beautiful state of Washington. And for those of you who'd like to support the channel indirectly in a very benign, passive manner, you can order things on Amazon by using this link, and it drops you into my store. You can look at the stuff in my store, or you can just go right into Amazon and do your regular shopping. And anything you buy will give a credit to the channel. It's a real easy way to support the channel and it's very appreciated. Big shout out to Josh over at Cunningham, who is still offering 15% off on fish and food. And I'll tell you, my red spotted gold severum in the 90-gallon rimless has become a complete spoiled child. I'll put in the cichlid pellets. He might nibble at one or two. I might put in a flake mix that I've created. He'll maybe nibble one or two. But it's only when I put in these premium earthworm pellets. Premium earthworm pellets from Josh. And this is what he like loses his mind for. And so after I feed him, after I give him the usual stuff, he'll stay at the front of the glass like, hey, where are my pellets, dude? And he'll give me that evil fish eye until I drop the pellets in. And the redhead tapajos will try and get some. And so will the Congos. The Congo tetras will come up and try and grab one. But he is definitely the guy that loves that. So those are from Josh. I also have spoiled my discus in that they're always waiting for this at the end. I'll show you. These are blackworms from Super Cichlids. And same thing with the discus. I give them some discus-specific food, which is the this original Stenker Granulat. It's a German discus food. I give them that, which I get from Super Cichlids also. They like it. They like it. They nibble at it. They chase it. I give them some of the premium flakes from Josh. And then they come to the front of the glass and they give me that look like, where are blackworms, dude? And I hand feed them with this, and they attack my hand. I stick them to the glass. It's a lot of fun. So a couple things that I'm doing with the food. Of course, I have my Northfin mix, which I mix with a little bit of Sarah and other stuff. And I've been using this stuff on my planted tank for like my ember tetras, my smaller fish, right? With the little teeny mouths. Even the rosy all the ones with the small mouths love this. This is that magic floating food from Aquarium Co-op, and the reason I love it, it just stays suspended in the water, and so the little fish the little guys can get into it and eat it up. So, at any rate, not sure how I even got into that, but there you go. So Cunningham, big shout out to Cunningham, which is how I think I even got into that topic. And also, if you'd like some swag, some channel swag like mugs and T-shirts and things, go to my Teespring store and pick some up. There's a link at the bottom of the banner if you're on a PC. Any super chats today, any super chats will be dedicated to getting me a new mug. It's a big old chip on my mug. So you can contribute to the mug fund with super chats if you're so inclined. Big shout out to my moderators. I noticed Denny is in the house. Good to see you, Denny. Give me a call sometime. Let me know how you're doing. Let's catch up. And Denny will help keep the stream family friendly, which of course is important. Let's see here. We got more folks jumping on. Zach Mouse, good morning. Let's see. Excali. Did I say hi to you, Excali? And Cat Sailor. Hey, Brandon. Good to see you, buddy. You bought some stuff from the... Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. You got to beware of cichlid sign. Hey, you've all been warned. It's on the sign. Beware of cichlids. You can't say I didn't warn you. Warn you for two reasons. One, they're aggressive. Two, you'll fall in love with them. So it's a double-edged sword. Mike Hunt, let's talk about that. Hey, Angelo, chips into the mug fund. I like it. Mike, you've got to provide, with cichlids especially, because of how they have a pecking order, a hierarchy that is strictly enforced. You need to feed to both ends of the aquarium, and you need to feed both floating and sinking food. You cannot feed them just floating food. And that's my opinion, one man's opinion, but it's based on having kept cichlids for a while. You've got to hit both sides, the middle, and hit them with floating and sinking food. I have a combination of both in my cichlid mix. I have a cichlid mix. It's made up of Northfin, Extreme, Sarah, and I've got some of the sticks, some of the floating sticks, and a lot of sinking food. So, yeah. So you got to have a combination. All right. Let's go ahead and end off on these commercials and shout outs. And let's go ahead and go relatively commercial free. But we'll go ahead and do our traditional start. Here we go. Okay, now it's official. Again, Angelo, thank you for that. I will put it towards a new mug. Which one will I get? Maybe I'll get the one with the Malawi trout on it. I have one with a Malawi trout. It's time I get new mugs. I kind of have the old mug style. The mugs have been there for a long time. I probably need some new mugs. Maybe make a mug with some discus on it. That'd be kind of fun, right? A discus mug. Zach says that Ron's is a good combination of both. So in one food, he'll include floating and sinking. Is that what you're saying on Ron's food? So you don't have to buy two kinds of food. It's all in one packet. That'd be good. MNC, I need to be aware of green dragons. Oh, all right. MIDI Mac is saying that the cobalt nitrate remover seems to lower them about 10 to 15, but it's hard to tell for sure. Now, I'm thinking of trying it. GP, one of our moderators, sent me an email talking about the success that he had with it. And this is just a product you can buy and add to your sump or your hang-on back or any filter, really. And it is it claims that it will absorb and lower nitrates. Now, the only complaint I heard was one person expressed concern about capturing too many solids, including like it lowered the TDS, the total dissolved solids in the aquarium, the hardness of the aquarium. So I would monitor that, but GP says he hasn't had any problem with that at all. And he has noticed a drop that is so much that he only has to do the water changes once a month, or eventually we'll get to once a month water changes. And also, it recharges. Apparently, it recharges very, very easily, the same way that you would recharge Purigen. You could use some bleach, give it a 24-hour soak, then give it a 24 hours with a water conditioner, and you're back. You're back to the beginning. So it recharges, so it can be used over and over again. So, all right. Discus North, of course, Discus North would say a discus mug. Discus North, I'm going to make one just because of that comment. I think I'll make one. Just got to figure out the right fit. Do I put one fish? Do I put a group of fish? We'll see. I'll come up with something. All right, we'll get into today's topic. I've got my coffee and I've got something called nitrogen water. What the heck is nitrogen water? Cheers. It's very good, actually. Put water in it, then you just push a little thing at the bottom, and it creates a lot of bubbles and nitrogen. And anyway, supposed to be good for you. We'll see. Might be a gimmick. I figured it couldn't hurt. All right. So today's topic. I think let's start with the 5 things. And I'll go in ascending order, starting with number 5. We'll work our way up to number 1 of why. We'll start off with the negative, then we'll go to the positive. Why is it terrible? What would make it terrible? We'll start with that. Number 5, especially with the current climate that we're in right now, number 5 would have to be cost. Cost is becoming a factor in the hobby. That could make it hard for some people to really get rolling. It's harder to get MTS. It's unless you're real good at scouring, Craigslist and eBay or local clubs. Cost could be one of the things that could make it difficult or terrible for some people. Mike Hunt contributes to the Let's Get Ben a New Mug That Isn't Chip Fund. Oh, he feeds a wide variety. Just like I feel like the cichlids are not eating their pellets. I got them. Let's see here if I can make this out. The old Rhapsody. Okay, is Rhapsody something you make yourself? I know there's one that you're supposed to mix and make yourself. Live foods. Thanks again. Mug fun. Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. So, all right. So, cost could be a factor that is making the hobby more difficult for people. For me to replace a 5 or add a 5 or 6 inch cichlid, if I get it shipped, it's going to cost me $150. Between shipping, the cost of the fish, things. A big cichlid, a big desirable, maybe 5 inch I can get into my tank for about $100. I mean, it's getting up there. This is why when you're going to order fish these days, you want to order several of them, offset some of the shipping costs. But cost could be a factor that is making it difficult these days. Number 4, what makes it terrible? Number 4 is disease. Disease is a lot of us are getting educated in the nitrogen cycle, water parameters, maintenance, things of this nature. And a lot of us get into it with very little education and very little knowledge about fish disease. We sort of learn about disease on an as-needed basis. So I became educated and learned about Colomaris from an outbreak of Colomaris. And it was horrible. Whether you're talking something serious like that, something as simple as ick, we learn about disease the hard way, it seems like, and that can make the hobby terrible for some people, especially with a very bad outcome, and especially after spending a tremendous amount of money on meds and then ending up losing your fish anyway. So the whole med component part of it can also make it very difficult. It looks like my gardener came early. I can hear him out there. Can you folks hear mowers in the background? I have my mic set up so it has a very limited range. Like as I pull back, you can barely hear me talking because it has a very limited range. So I'm thinking it might be blocking out the mowers. Can you hear mowers outside? I mean, if you do, I can go out there and ask them to come back next week. At any rate, the disease is one of the things that make it terrible, and the sort of agony or the anxiety, the anguish that comes with watching your fish succumb to something, and you're just not able to arrest it. And if you don't have a quarantine tank, just one tank, let's say you have a 75 and you're treating a 75, the cost in treatment, you could just go right through the roof. This is why these days, I'll tell you these days what I'm doing is I try salt. I use Fritz A+ salt. I'll go with that first. And if I'm not seeing some progress, I might then consider shifting over to meds. But it just gets real expensive real fast, especially if you don't have a 10-gallon or a 5-gallon hospital tank you can drop them into real quick. So disease is a problem. Number 3 in ascending order is the dreaded tank crash. Things seem okay. You feed the fish Saturday morning. You go out of town for a one-day getaway. You come back late Sunday, and all the fish are dead. And you don't know why. The water's cloudy. The equipment is running. Everything seems okay that way. You even do a water test, and the test results seem okay. And you're just sort of dumbfounded. You're like, what in the world happened? And I speak from experience. I had that happen with an aquarium. I went out of town, came back. Everybody was covered in fuzz. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And my theory is that there was an electrical malfunction with perhaps a heater. But to this day, I really don't know what wiped out that tank. 5 culiluches. I had a pair of tilapia in there. I had, several really cool fish. A lot of plecos. The snails survived. I mean, snails seem rather bulletproof, but whatever it was, it just wiped them out. But the tank crash is one of the terrible sides of fish keeping. And thank goodness it was a 29 and not a 120 or I'm sorry, a 220 or a 300 that crashed. That would have been devastating, right? Tank crashes are a terrible part of the hobby. No fun. Number 2, in ascending order, and it probably goes hand in hand to some degree with tank crashes, with a tank crash, is equipment failure. Now you can almost, you can, in a sort of extended way, you could almost add power outages. Like my friends in Houston who lost all their fish during that long power outage in Houston. So equipment failure and power outages, things that keep the tank alive and going, whether it's water movement, temperature, oxygenation, filtration. Now, pretty much any tank can survive, depending on the stocking, I guess, but usually 6 to 12 hours. I mean, you think about it, fish get shipped from the Far East all the way to, the U.S., and they're in bags, and it can take, 15 hours to get through customs. It can take a day. It can be overnight. So you can go through a power outage probably for a day and survive it, get into the fish room, and run your fingers across the top of the tank a few times every few hours just to create some gas exchange, right? But power backups, lithium battery powered air pumps, things like that. They're worth their weight in gold. Generators, if you have a house where you can have an outside generators, things like that. Backup filters. I have about 2 or 3 internal filters, and I have the sponges that go inside of them, inside of a sump. So I can fire up a filter right away if one of my filters fail, one of my pumps fail, something like that. I can fire up something real quick that is seated and ready to go. So equipment failure have got to be on the list. Now, what's the number one? What do you think is the number one thing that would, in my mind, now it's going to be different for everybody, but in my mind, what do you think is the number one thing that would make a hobby terrible for somebody? What is the number one thing that would make the hobby terrible? The first one that guesses correctly what I said is going to get some free fish food. Free fish food. Sarah and Northfin, what do you think I picked as the number one reason that would make fish keeping terrible? Zach, that's a good one. Moving. That's a good one. Human error, that's a good one. Bad advice, oh my goodness. These are all good. The flood, these are real good. I could have added all of those. Broken tank, oh my goodness. Tank burst, those are also real good ones. Bad advice, that's a good one. Leaking tank, oh, nightmare. A total loss, Proverbs 21, that's a good one too. Losing fish for no reason, boy, you're close. Electric and water bills. God, these are all good ones that should have been on the list. Tank derangement syndrome. You deleted it. Is it too close to the political TD? Tank derangement syndrome. Let's call it MTS. Change it to your comment to MTS, multiple tank syndrome. And a bad heater, that's a good one too. Fatigue and burnout, those are good ones. A killer fish, human error, TDS, divorce, that could be bad. Being a beginner, buying fish, that realizing that it's going to grow into a monster, that's another good one. Bad advice from experts, boy, have I gone down that road. Buying more, okay, I'm just going to give it to you. And probably the closest one was losing fish for no reason. So Mike Hunt, send me your full name and mailing address. I'm going to send you some food. Tell me what kind of fish you have. My number one reason was losing a fish you've had for a long time and has become like a water puppy. Like for me, if I lost my trout, my Buccochromis rhodesii yellow, my Kawingi, my Oscar, right? One of my chocolates, my Salvini. I mean, these would be like gut punches for me. They would be like gut punches because I've watched them blossom. Any of my discus, I've had them a short time, but they're like puppies. I've been hand feeding them, and so losing a fish that you've become very close to, and that was my number one. But man, you folks came up with some good ones. Holy moly. I think next time what I'll do is I'll do a survey about what's the worst about keeping fish before I do the live stream, because you came up with some that I think were better than mine. Electrocution through a broken heater. Oh my goodness. Man, that's a good one. Yeah, Mike, send me an email. Discus North, the discus really hurt to. I know they're like these little. They're like these little dishes. This little dish collection that is, and they're so cute. Anyway, and you do get attached to them, especially when for me, especially now that I'm hand feeding them. Fish killing each other, Tracy. Yeah. Yep. All of these, such good ones. Ronald got divorced over fish? Over fish tanks? Wow. And surf casting 15 years ago. Never stopped. What's that country song about the wife telling him he had to pick between fishing and her, and then the chorus of the song is, I'm sure gonna miss her. Something like that. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right, let's talk about, now in all of that, if I missed any super chats for the Broken Mug, super chats for the Chip Mug Fund, I'm sorry if I missed them, but thank you for those of you who are super chatting for Let's Get Ben a New Mug. All right, let's talk about the 5 best. The 5 best. Starting with number 5 and working our way up to number 1. Number 5. It's going to scramble your brain. And by that, what I mean is you're going to have to learn about things you never really learned about. You're going to learn about how oxygen gets into water. You're going to learn about how fish absorb minerals through their body. You're going to learn about the effects of light. You're going to learn about water movement, about disease, about fish, about food quality, and the differences between good quality and poor quality. You're going to always be learning, just like the channel motto. You're going to always be learning, and it's just a real good thing to do to your head, is to force yourself, like moving into discus, for me, moving into plants. These things have scrambled my brain, because with cichlids, especially your big Africans, substrate, throw some rocks in, a few fake plants, man, we're off to the races. Watch your nitrates if you overstock. Give them some fresh water because they produce a lot of waste and eat a lot of food. Give them some water movement. We're done. You're going to learn about algae control. You're going to learn about aggression. You're going to learn about breeding. And so there's so many things. Color enhancement, natural color enhancement, the light spectrum and how it affects color in plants. So many things. You're going to learn about the weight of water, right? How a gallon weighs a little over 8 pounds and how that equates to the strength of your floor. And you're going to learn how to seal a tank. You're going to learn about so many things, so many angles about filtration, the different types of filtration, canisters, sumps, hang-on backs, internals, dirted tanks, and anyway. So learning is number 5. You're going to be required to scramble up some brain cells, and I think that's always a good thing to do. Number 4, what makes it the best hobby? The spectrum, the range and variety from 5-gallon nano, a 5-gallon beta, all the way up to thousands of gallons with rays and trout and I mean, there's just this massive spectrum of things you could do in the hobby, and you can dial in to whatever point in that spectrum is good for you, based on budget, space available, based on your taste in fish, what you want. Do you want peaceful fish, big fish, small fish? Do you want salt? Do you want fresh? So you have a hobby that provides just a tremendous range, and I think that's awesome. So variability, and from monster to nano, from 5 gallon to thousands. Number three, you've got to have this one on the list. This one's important to have on the list, and it's the documented medical benefits of keeping fish, from lowering heart rate and blood pressure to improving disposition, helping with depression. I mean, there's a lot of documented, a lot of published work on how the keeping of aquariums can have a positive impact on a person's physical and mental well-being. So you've got to have that on the list of why this is such a great hobby. Number two, they're really, really pretty. The aesthetics of it. I mean, you could be into the art of like fishing. You could be into antique gun collecting. You could be into maybe, I don't know, maybe stamps would be similar, but lots of little hobbies out there. But for the sheer beauty, it's hard to beat this hobby. It's not only something that's colorful, but it's alive. In some cases, interacting with you. And that makes it, in my mind, a bit superior to hobbies that involve inanimate objects. Now, some of you out there into motorcycles, restoring cars, woodworking, they're all good. This is not a knock on other hobbies. But the fact that we have these living creatures, colorful and responding to our care, is just something really, really cool in my mind. Now, what do you think? And again, I'll send out some fish food if you get it right. What do you think, in my opinion, which is going to be different from everybody else, but in my opinion, what do you think I selected as the number one thing that makes fish keeping the best hobby, makes it incredible, makes it rock, makes it awesome? What do you think I picked? Go ahead and go. I'm going to be looking at the I'm looking at the chat. Let's see what you folks have to say. What do you think I picked as the main reason why I think fish keeping is awesome? Always learning. I already said that. Something I haven't said yet. Peace. There is a certain amount of peace in fish keeping. Relaxing. That kind of goes into the health benefits. Sharing. Yes. Younger generation. That's a real good one. Watching them develop as a fish keeper. Yep. That's a good one. Not the one I picked, though. Ex-Kali Kev, you're right. That's why doctors' offices have fish tanks. Try to calm you down. Peace and beauty. Discus North. It's a good pick, but not the one I picked. From a small fry to an adult, that is very, very rewarding. Always learning. Joe Fish. Joe Fish, I'm going to give it to you because you are the closest. And Whip Squirrel comes in too, and DSGF. Okay, look. Bobby Ward as well. Okay, look. All four of you, send me your name and address, full name, full address to ben.o.cichlid, ben.o.cichlid at gmail.com. I'm going to send you all some food. Let me know what kind of fish you have. I'll try and match up the food. But number one was people, the people. Because through these fish, you're going to share something with a group of very cool people, people like you, that we share this thing in common. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're red, if you're blue, if you're young, if you're old, if you're purple, green, orange. It doesn't matter. We have this one thing in common, and we can talk about it. And it's the people. And along the way, the people I've met, 99.999% of them have been what I would call excellent people. They've been just regular folks who working hard, living life, getting by, and they love the hobby. And we had a shared love of the hobby. So the people is number one. So there you go. That's now there's one that kind of straddles it. I got a couple bonus ones. You know me, I always come up with some other ones after I put the list together. In the area of terrible, and this may or may not be a problem for some of you, but in the area of terrible, having a lot of tanks and a lot of fish is going to anchor you. And what I mean by that is, it's not like my wife and I can say, okay, that's it. Let's go to Florida for a week. I need to do some maintenance. I need to put some auto feeders on. I need somebody to come by the house. I've got to figure out what to do with Jackson, my beagle. So there is a bit of an anchor to having fish. You're not, forget about a 1 month getaway. It could be pulled off if you have somebody that you trust, but there is that side of it. There is an anchor side of it. And one that kind of straddles both good and bad is MTS. If you really get the bug, you're going to get a lot of tanks. And if you know when to stop, if you know when you've hit that line where it's starting to become tedious and overworking you, and you keep it in that zone where you can get to it all, you're going to be okay. But where it starts to take over your life, where the MTS takes over your life, no time for family, you get behind on other aspects, taking care of your home, your car, your other, your dog, your cat, other thing, where it takes over your life, that's where it can get bad. But that's like any addiction. Now, if you're going to have an addiction, if you have an addictive personality, instead of drinking, instead of crack, instead of gambling, I think fish keeping, if you had to have an addiction, I think fish keeping is probably a good one. If you had to pick an addiction. Anyway, a couple bonus ones that I thought of that I thought you might be interested in. So let's just open this up to your questions and go from there. I know I missed a lot of comments. I was busy reading off my list, but let's see here what you have to say on the comments. If you have a question for me, please start it with Ben Ochart, and that way I will see it in the chat. It'll jump out at me. Janet says she has 4 tanks and she likes to move or things are, yeah, that has saved my bacon a couple times. The fact that I was able to move some fish around. So that's important. That is important. Gary, that is a good point. There is a certain satisfaction that comes with knowing, observing that you're actually being successful. Your fish they're colored up, they're active, they got good fin display, they're eating, they're 99.9% disease free. I mean, when you have a lot of fish, there seems to be something going on, but one aquarium, everybody's healthy, and you don't want to spend too much time patting yourself on the back, but it is satisfying. For me, I get a tremendous amount of satisfaction after doing maintenance. You clean the front panel, you do a little vacuuming, maybe you work on a filter, and the fish are like bright and shiny, and that to me is very, very rewarding. To Barrick, we usually don't get into religion, but there are folks who would say that there is something spiritual in life. I have that experience myself, especially in spring when I go out and look at things that were dead all winter and covered in snow. And now, where that snow was, there are beautiful flowers. And so, yeah, there's definitely something going on. A connection to nature in your home. Yep, right along that same line. Right along that same line. There's a connection there that, I mean, for some of us, we probably can't imagine a home without fish, without a tank, It would be hard for some of us to even imagine that. Zach is congratulating the winners. Zach, enjoy your time with your kids. Playing soccer goes by in a heartbeat. Don't blink, my friend. Janet Fields, RODI water, pumps, filter socks. You might have a problem. I don't have ROD, but I do have filter socks. Ronald's got somebody he can trust. Yeah, that makes a big difference. When you've got somebody you can trust to keep an eye on your fish when you go on vacation or you go away on business, it makes a tremendous difference to have that. DSGF, I'm in a wheelchair user. Fish keeping keeps me moving in ways I wouldn't otherwise. Yep. I'll tell you, more than most the importance of movement and what a lack of moving can do to a body. Angelo? Yeah, I tell you, it's people and connections that add quality to life. When you look at these longevity studies, and what do they call them? Blue zones, people that live longer. And yeah, they look at nutrition, they look at nutrients, the mineral content of what they're eating, the clean eating that they're doing. But what's the number one thing they always find? Social connection. I just saw a report on children who have grandparents. Of course, I look for this sort of stuff because I'm a grandparent. children with grandparents in their lives have a lower suicide rate than those who grew up without grandparents. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? You know, Tabarak, there is satisfaction in that. And when I finally did get that Maricin Plus, that Fritz Maricin Plus, and the food infused with the right kind of antibod, and I stopped Colomaris at 50% fish loss, that was kind of a shallow victory, but a victory. It's almost like winning a battle, but you lost like half of your troops, but you won the battle. I imagine there's it's a bittersweet thing, right? But of course, I'm comparing apples and oranges, but now I can't pronounce your name, but you are right. The satisfaction of watching little gray fish turn into beautiful monsters is amazing. Janet Fields, I didn't know that there was a thing that was specific. There are specific saltwater lights. I thought that there was, I thought that you just get like full spectrum. So it must be emphasizing certain kinds of light that maybe is for coral. That's interesting. I didn't even realize that there was that difference. It must be in the spectrum. And what does it do to freshwater? Does it wash it out? Is it too powerful? Interesting. I didn't know about that. And I know that some fish keepers, like I know that KG Tropicals, they got those Kessel lights that were given to him. They're like, I don't know, $400 a unit. He's got like 4 of them over one of his aquariums that were given to him by Kessel, I believe. But I believe those are saltwater. They have the spectrum for saltwater. So maybe they're, anyway, I'm not sure what the difference would be. Interesting. Kendall, I would continue to treat the tank. I would continue to water condition, right? Use your prime, your Seacam prime, but along with it, like you're doing, that should keep it locked up. I like the Fritz products. The Fritz Zyme 7, is it? I like the Fritz beneficial bacteria myself. And watch the fish. If the fish look okay and you're using prime as well, you should be all right. You'll turn the corner on it eventually. Hey, Zach, congratulations. Zach's got a 180 gallon, which is a great size for his fish, for his South Americans. Nice, very good size. Any more questions for me? Be sure to start them with Ben Ochart. I'll be sure to pick them up. I notice you have some very cool conversations going on between you, and that's good. Whips World, are you suggesting that Michael get twice the amount of fish food? Is that what you're suggesting? Michael's Whip's got your back there, buddy. Oh, Tabarak had gill flukes. Gill flukes are not good. Were you able to see them with your naked eye? Were you able to actually watch them and see them on the gills? And did you treat with something, or did they just sort of fall off, or what? How did that happen? It's usually fatal because it cuts off their ability to breathe. I'm watching the chat fly by. And by the way, those of you out there who are lurking and not commenting, I'd like you to know that lurkers are also very appreciated at this channel. So Proverbs 21:19, Ronald, I've got marine on mine and the colors of my Mabuna pop. So, you know, I tell you, you can throw any topic you want into an aquarium discussion, and you're going to get people that say this works, and you're going to get people that say it doesn't work. It's such an interesting hobby, and both folks are going to be honest about it. They're not lying. So, and again, the only reason for that, I think, is you've got so many moving parts, right? You've got each person's own water parameters coming out of the tap, their way of maintaining the tanks. You've got each person's way of feeding. I mean, everybody's different. And so you end up with different outcomes. But very interesting how you can get so many different responses to the same topic. Janet Fields, this channel is very good, not too big. I guess that's kind of good, looking on the bright side. It is going to be nice when I hit 60,000 subs, though. That'll be kind of cool. I'd love to hit 100,000 someday, but we'll see. My Fish Tanks Aquatic, yep. Brad Paisley. I'm going to miss her. Great song. Oh, my goodness. Of course, I've become a big country music fan once I moved to Nashville. You can't help it. I have not found that tannins will affect your cichlids in a negative manner. I've just not found it to be true, and I was once told that don't put wood in your African cichlid tank. It's going to drop your pH, and then I find out later apparently it doesn't. Just kind of a wives' tale, but no, I don't think tannin is going to have an effect. It's more of an aesthetic. It's whatever your aesthetic taste is. Bobby Ward is lurking elbow deep in a 6-foot tank. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I got all my maintenance done during the week. You probably saw that short video I put out about how good it felt to have all my water changes done. Because normally my weekend is water changes. But my daughter's husband's out of town, so I'm going to go over there and help her assemble what is called a mud kitchen, which is an outside kitchen for her two daughters. And they can make mud pies. Talk about tannins. I have 2 cichlids with bite marks. Ooh. You know, when a fish do hit each other on the sides, that's a sign of wanting to take another fish out. Fin nipping is one thing. Torpedoing a fish on the side, that's an elevated aggression. And keep an eye on it. Keep a close eye on it. You might need to pull out a fish. When you do water changes, when you do vacuuming, if you notice scales coming up the siphon tube, you've got a high level of aggression in there. If he hits them just right, he's going to damage the swim bladder, and the fish will become relatively incapacitated. At which point he'll finish him off, or he'll leave him alone because he'll no longer be a threat. But keep an eye on that. I've seen it. It's not good. That's one of the things I look for signs of severe aggression are missing scales on the side. Yeah, Wally, I agree. Fish keeping helped him get through some very dark times. And there's a lot to be said for getting your attention off of the loss, right? Being able to shift your attention as opposed to maybe, staying in the middle of it. It's like, yeah, it forces you to take your attention off. Angelo, that's the way I suggest you do it. And underwater galleries, man, those caves are awesome. They really are awesome. Super light. You never have to worry about. I mean, they will break if you drop one; they'll shatter because they are like a, I don't know, what are they, like a porcelain, ceramic product, but they're very stackable, and you can create these big condos right on each corner or a big condo in the middle. And when you want to change things around, they're very easy to move. What I'm talking about, I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And while I go get one, you can enjoy my enjoy the discus for a minute. My discus cam. So they come in a variety of sizes, starting, I mean, look at the size of this beast. That's a monster cave. Not something you would necessarily need for a Mabuna tank. Mabuna tank, you would probably use more this and maybe even the one below this. So he's got like an entrance and a little condo. It's got a living room, bedroom, patio. But they're great. And they also come like in little teeny sizes too. So, and like I said, they're stackable. Super light. When you contact Underwater Galleries, tell them Ben Ochart sent you. They don't sponsor the channel. I don't get anything from them, but they'll like to hear my name. They know I use their products. Thank you. I appreciate that on running a live stream. It wasn't always like that, Janet. There was a time when my streams would drop and be upside down, and I'd lose this and lose that. I mean, it's taken a long time, and I'm still learning. Always be learning. J. Oliveres, Guppies, and Aquatics is hoping everyone is doing well and staying healthy. Thank you for that. DD Aquarium, which is the best buying fish small and watch them grow? You know, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. In some cases, the buying small fish, the small fish are going to be a little more fragile. But this is why when you buy small fish, you want to buy a lot of them. And of course, when they're small, they're less expensive because the seller hasn't gone through, 3 years of growing them out. So I like both ways for different reasons. Certainly, if I want to add a fish to my African cichlid tank, I'm going to have to go with a bigger fish, or he's going to have no chance of surviving in there. So my recent purchases have been between 5 and 6 inches. And Brandon Wood sent me that Autopharynx tetrastigma. I probably want him to put on a little more size before I can confidently add him. I think if they don't fit in the mouth, they're probably going to be okay. And he's almost there already. Now, I will say that years ago, if you go back to my older videos, let's go back 7 years, 8 years, I would buy between 3 and 5 African cichlids, and I would watch them blossom, and it was just a lot of fun to watch one become a superstar. But you might lose one, maybe 2 along the way. I mean, they're more fragile. They're hardier when they're bigger. You're going to pay a lot more, 10 times more, maybe more for a larger one. But pros and cons, just depends what kind of tank you want to put them in. And that's right, Ronald. Happy Easter to everybody. And I want to share that sentiment. Happy Easter, and thank you to all of you for sitting in. Thank you to my wonderful moderators. Thank you to all of you who are viewing and commenting and lurking. And those of you who have given the video a thumbs up. Those of you who super chatted, thank you so much for that. A big thank you to all of you who use my Amazon link to shop. Really helps out. And a big shout out to my wonderful moderators. And I think with that, we are already past the hour. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Remember, no live stream next weekend, but I will be back the week after that. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your egg hunt tomorrow, and have a great, great Sunday. And I hope you have a great weekend. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. And watch for some videos on products. I've got some products I'm going to be reviewing. And, of course, I'll come up with some other topics as well. Thank you, friends. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.